Ah. I'm trying to set this up so you can see the TV good. I can't seem to... Ah. Ah! Let me watch it on YouTube, see how good I can see it.
Take 5, you stay in your car because we're faster than you think.
This is just an ad.
Take 5, you stay in your car because we're faster than you think.
This is just an ad.
Take 5, you stay in your car because we're faster than you think.
Looks like you can see it good. See, it's Frndly TV. I don't know why they don't have an E, because I think Frndly is spelled Friendly. Wonder if they spelled that one, misspelled on purpose. There, the Frndly TV app.
I am thrilled to present this year's American Publishers
Winter Love
Author of the
Story is
Year.
on. Sorry, Hallmark. I didn't mean to put your movie on YouTube. It might be a copyright. Expiring soon on the DVR. TV series. The first 48 is on there a lot. Movies. Would the gymnastics be in with the TV series? Yeah, college basketball is in there. Let's see. I know I record. Okay, so BYU is going to play Utah State, and Southern Open from the Maverick Center in West Valley City.
You're watching BYU Volume 41, Volume 40, Volume 45, Volume 46.
NCAA Women's Gymnastics returns in dynamic fashion. The best of Utah meet. 4 teams, all in the top 26, including one national title contender. It's Utah, BYU, Southern Utah, and Utah State. And BYU TV has the privilege of bringing you the best of the best in the Beehive State. It's the best of Utah, next on BYU TV.
Okay, go to you. On my other phone.
Choice of one. It is the best of Utah meet.
Thunderbirds, the Cougars, the
top
Aggies,
26 teams. Those other 3 teams in the same conference. An early litmus test for all. Wherever and however you're connected, great to have you with us on BYU TV alongside the former fabulous gymnastics standout, Mccollum Murphy. I am Spencer Linton. Mccollum, we always look forward to this annual event now 3 years running. And we're frankly spoiled to be in the state of Utah and have the likes of the Utes, Cougars, Aggies, and Thunderbirds to open up the gymnastics season. What are you looking forward to most tonight when these 4 teams finally take the floor?
You know, just like you mentioned, we're so spoiled. I can't believe that we get to have 4 top 25 teams here in our state. I'm really just excited to see what these girls put out. The teams that we've grown to know and love here, and get to see them perform and welcome into 2022.
Let's rewind to last year's Best of Utah meet to kind of open up what's going to happen tonight with our Sports History Showcase, brought to you by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. January 9th of 2021, Utah, not surprisingly, very solid out of the gate, 196.9, BYU with a 195.7, but I think the overall theme of this meet last year, Mccollum, was we were surprised to see how strong these teams were, given all of the strange, weird COVID parameters, wondering how much training they could get in. They were really good, and I'm interested to see if that happens again tonight.
For sure. Unfortunately, this pandemic is not over. They're still having to deal with a lot of COVID protocols, a lot of quarantining. But we've been so impressed watching warm-ups with how well they have done so far.
The third member of our broadcast team tonight is Kiki Solano. She will be very busy making her way around the floor at the Maverick Center, and it's always interesting to talk expectations with these 4 teams, all in the top 26, Kiki.
It is, and these teams are really right now just focused on figuring out their lineup, figuring out what their gymnasts are going to bring this year. For Utah, they returned 23 of their 24 routines from last season, but that's not the case for Utah State. Southern Utah and BYU, they lost some of their senior leadership, so we will be seeing them. We're out of quarantine in time for the competition, but not in time to prepare and practice enough to compete here. BYU head coach Gard Young tells me, though, that he's excited for his freshmen to have this opportunity in such a high-pressure environment. He's encouraging them to stay positive. He's encouraging them to focus on the skills that they do really well and to not hold back. He wants to see some aggressive gymnastics still here tonight.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you, Kiki Solano. We'll hear from Utah head coach Tom Pardon in just a little bit as well. But now, before we introduce you to our Impact performers tonight, brought to you by Brady Industries. commercial cleaning supplies and equipment. And let's start with a two-time national champion, Miley O'Keefe, for the Red Rocks, Miguel.
Brings so much experience to this team, as Spencer mentioned, two-time national champ, seven-time All-American. She has literally hit every routine she has ever competed in her college career.
How about Rebecca Wells and what she brings for the Utah State Aggies? What are you looking forward to most from her capable and very competitive skill set?
You know, I'm super excited to see her on bars. She had the highest score at regionals last year. Very aggressive beam worker, and she's debuting a new floor routine tonight that her coach is very excited about.
It's always nice to have some significant experience, and that is the case for Southern Utah, specifically with Anna Nip, who's back for a 5th year.
For sure, 5th-year senior, brings so many high scores in her past. She scored 995 on both beam and floor. She's a 2-time RMGC floor specialist last year. The girls really look to her as a leader on the team, and they're so excited to have her back again.
As Kiki told us, and as you already mentioned as well, Mikkel, COVID has decimated many of these teams and rosters, maybe none more so than BYU tonight, but they do have Haley P2, speaking of experience, back in the lineup, and that's going to be huge for the Cougars.
For sure. Another 5th-year senior. Very excited to have her tonight. Very dynamic vaulter. I'm excited to see what she brings to the table there. Freshman. She's been on bars since her freshman year, brings a lot of experience there. She's actually the captain of bars this year, and she's worked her way into beam lineup. So we'll be seeing a lot of Haley tonight.
Our rotation order presented by Intermountain Healthcare, keeping the Cougs healthy as the official sports medicine provider for BYU Athletics. The Utah State Aggies will open up on vault, SUU on the bars, the Utah Utes on beam, and BYU will begin on the floor. Another interesting twist in this, with 4 meets and a quad meet, is how teams have to adjust to opening events that they usually wouldn't. But it's good to be put in some uncomfortable situations here.
Yeah, so they're going to compete in what is called Olympic order. This is when freshman experience comes in handy, because these girls who are freshmen, they've been competing this way their entire club career. Our older gymnasts, they will have to adjust that a little bit, but they can do it.
Certainly capable. Now, as promised, Kiki Solano moments ago with Utah head coach Tom Farden and what he's expecting tonight at the Mathis Center in West Valley, Utah.
Coach, you have so many experienced gymnasts that are used to being in situations like this. What are you hoping to see from them here tonight?
You know, really our objective tonight is to hit 24 routines. That's what we'd love to do. We've got some routines that we're going to do some exhibitions and some debut stuff. So we'd love to hit every routine that we throw out there tonight. So that's kind of the goal.
And with such a deep and experienced team, what are you wondering if you'll still learn about them here tonight?
You know, this is a process, and it's a step-by-step. This is going to be the first step in the 22 season. We're super excited about that. But what we want to learn is the combination of lineups right? Are we doing the right skills to maximize our score? And is the flow, you know, how we operate tonight? Is everything buttoned up?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tom Farden, a respected personality and certainly icon in the gymnastics community across the colleges nationwide, will open our coverage up on bars with Nikki Thomas of Southern Utah, the junior out of Stafford, Virginia. Here we go, Miguel.
On bars, we're looking for good handstands, a major release, a transitional release, and of course, the stick on the dismount. So far, we've seen a pretty great opening routine from Nikki. Just going for that stick. A step there on the landing. Good opening set. Way to open the season. Very strong.
Scott Bowman, appreciating what he sees from Nikki Thomas. She's receiving high fives from her teammates. You'll hear intermittent cheers throughout the night as well. And I promise we'll take you to the best events. Our cameras are capturing everything as it happens. We will take you to the best of the best events. Right now, Eliza Millar for BYU opens up the floor routine. The freshman, one of those many freshmen that are going to be getting some big-time experience tonight for the Cougars.
You know, as much of a bummer as it is that the Cougars have had to have many of their teammates sit out tonight, so many of these gymnasts are going to get experience that they might not have otherwise. Big opening pass, beautiful double pike. On floor, we are going to be looking for tumbling that goes both forward and backwards. In addition, we also need to see leaps, jumps, and turns. stick is considered not moving your feet at all. However, on floor, the gymnasts are allowed to take what is called a lunge, where they take one controlled step backward out of their tumbling pass, or forward for a forward tumbling pass. Controlled is the key word there.
2021 Junior Olympic National Qualifier. As a twin brother, ready for big things at BYU.
Nice big double tuck there at the end. You'll see a lot of these gymnasts ending with a double tuck. They do get an extra tenth and bonus for that. On floor, beam, and bars, the gymnast routines start at a 9.4. They can earn bonus tenths by doing either really hard skills or by combining skills.
And now to the vault for the first time tonight with Utah State. Here's Bree Clark.
Huge Yurchenko full for Bree. Nice big start. Just really good dynamic vaulter. We saw again that she took that step back. That will be a deduction. We're going to see a lot of that tonight. These girls are the very beginning of their season. We're going to be seeing some mistakes tonight that we will not see later in the season. And that's honestly not a bad thing. If you are peaking in January, then you are going to be so worn out by the time regionals and nationals rolls around.
There's a lot of truth to it. It's a long season. Now to the uneven bars.
Nice cow hop into a pike Jaeger. And get Bell. So what we're going to see there is she is going to get connection bonus for that hop into her Jaeger. It does come as a release, even though it's kind of a sneaky one. Line change into the double back. Great stick. That's what we're looking for as far as feet not moving on the distance.
Solid kick for Schwartz on the uneven bars for Southern Utah. Now to Grace Mccollum. Part of that very talented University of Utah lineup.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. The freshman class at Utah has so much experience that they bring to the table. Beautiful candle mount to start, always a crowd favorite. Similar to 4 on beam, we'll be looking for a turn. Nice double turn there. That double turn is actually what is called an E. Gymnastics skills are ranked in difficulty, A through E, A being the easiest, E being the most difficult. You are awarded difficulty tenths based on that ranking. The E gets her 2 tenths of bonus. Nice series there. She really held on to it. Her held went a little bit forward, but that experience that she has really comes in there. A less experienced gymnast may have fallen off on that. She did a great job holding on to it and minimizing deductions by not wobbling it out.
Obviously a huge name in the gymnastics community nationwide. Silver medalist on the 2020 United States Olympic National Team, 4-year member of the national team, and a 2-time world champion. Now she is fully devoted to the Red Rocks of Utah. Wow.
Beautiful aerial layout full for the dismount. Again, great sticks. That is what we're hoping to see from tonight from these gymnasts. Feet land, don't move.
Grace Mccollum, another day at the office on the beam. Here is Brianna Brooks, sophomore out of Las Vegas for Utah State on the vault. A couple of 9.775s for the Aggies.
That is such a beautiful ball. We don't have time for replays tonight, but when you see her in the future, look at how straight her body is in the air. The judges are looking for that. They don't want to see what is called a pike down. When your feet come down instead of being pencil straight. That was a perfect example of how that should look.
Here's one of our impact performers on the night for Southern Utah, Hannah Nick, the 5th-year senior, with her season-opening bars routine.
Beautiful handstand. Hannah has such beautiful lines. Line change into the Straujager. Wanted just a tiny bit close. You see that she was just a tiny bit soft on her catch. Again, these are very small things, but we won't be seeing them later in the season. Good double leg to finish. Tiny step, tiny deduction. That's how landing deductions work. It's not set. It's up to a 10 for a step. So what will likely say it's probably a half 10 for that little step that she took.
Hannah Nipper waits her score in the first rotation after that bars routine. Now we move back to the Bean and the Red Rocks of Utah.
Beautiful switch feet mount. You are not required to mount in a difficult way. Some gymnasts use it just as a flex. Others use it to get those difficulty bonus hits.
Well, a huge name for Utah, Kara Eaker, freshman, an alternate for the United States Olympic team in 2020.
Utah has a lot of these aerial back layout series connections. You don't see that very often. It is so difficult because the aerial switches directions before immediately going into another flip. It is a very hard way to get your series requirement, and they do it beautifully.
She's fourth on the beat of the 2019 World Championships.
Great set so far. Preparing for the dismount. Beautiful dismount. You saw that she did it with bent knees. That is just called a tuck position. And there's no deduction for having her knees bent on that dismount.
Freshman phenom Kara Eaker as we now move to the floor, and BYU.
BYU Cougars are on the floor.
Owing a
That's the
9.675 and 9.475 from Millar and Hunter.
Coach Brogan was very excited about Abby's routine. It's the evolution of dance. We'll get to watch her dance her way from the 50s on up until now. Beautiful front layout to a Ruby or a 1.5 twist. Great control on the landing. On these front tumbling passes, what we need to see is that the shoulders stay up, or better yet, rise. We don't want to see gymnasts creating their flip rotation by dropping their shoulders and dragging their feet over the top. Pretty elite pass. The judges are looking to see that the gymnast gets a full 180-degree split. Houston demonstrates that beautifully on that pass. Big double back. That is the controlled step back we were talking about at the beginning of the meet that we want to see.
Beaston, one of those athletes for the Cougars and head coach Gard Young that they're hoping take a bigger role. It's a good start to her season.
Very good start.
That certainly will produce the highest score that BYU has seen on the floor through the first three competitors. Hannah Nipper, the 9.85 in the 3 spot on the uneven bars for Southern Utah. Now for Kayla Co.
Kayla Co's another really consistent performer that we've seen over the years. Mounts with a beautiful Maloney directly into her pack flipped. You'll see there she does what is called a pirouette. She gets no credit for doing a pirouette. It takes the place of her kick. It just looks so much more professional. Huge dismount there. So difficult.
Her career best on bars is a 9.85.
I think we'll see it higher this season.
We await that score. Meanwhile, Rebecca Wells, another impact performer for Utah State, on the vault.
Oh my goodness. The straight body that Utah State is bringing tonight in these layout positions is incredible. And you can see how their chest is totally straight up when their feet hit. The judges are looking for that. They don't want to see their feet come down, their chest down. Really incredible vaulting happening from Utah State tonight.
A furious pace at this quad meet. And the best of Utah takes us now back to Mason Bentley in Southern Utah on the uneven bars, the senior out of St. George, Utah.
Mounts with a huge relief here.
And
Toe on
she
toe,
was
right
thunder
into the right. Immediate
on the bar.
shoot over.
There you see the 9.825 from Co, so she just missed time her career best.
So again, this is the very first meet of the season. We are going to see these girls improve significantly.
Wow.
That was another great bar set. Again, at the opening of the meet, we were wondering how everyone would look. We know everyone has been affected by COVID restrictions differently, and I've been very impressed so far.
Abby Beeson with a solid 9.8 on floor for BYU. Here is Brittany Vitkauskas, who has become just a dynamic performer over the seasons at BYU, and the Cougars could use a big-time routine here.
Big opening pass here for Brittany. Double twisting front layout. We'll see a lot of double twisting going backward. For some reason, it's just so much harder going forward. So you do not see the double twisting front layouts done as often. Beautiful back 1.5 front layout. That's exactly what we want to see with those shoulders rising in the front layout to create the twist, to create the flip. Brittany is BYU's floor captain this year.
Let's see, this is 21 minutes out of 2 hours. BYU TV, Friday, January
Captain
7th,
this year.
8 p.m.
And Coach Brogan has just spoken about how proud she is of Brittany's always worked so hard on her own, but she has really taken a mentorship leader role this season.
Guard Young has instituted captains for each individual event. That is something new for BYU this year, and Vitkauskas is a nice choice for floor, Miguel.
I like that idea because sometimes you'll have captains that don't even come to your event. So the idea that you have a captain per event is, I feel like it's genius. I feel like it really ties your lineup together as well.
Well, what do you think of the season opener for Brittany Vitkauskas?
So good. Such a strong opener. Coach Brogan was very intentional about putting Vitkauskas in the middle of the lineup this year. Usually we see her at the end. Again, they're missing a few of their key players tonight on floor, and she just wanted to make sure that we had a good, solid middle to build off of as we go into the night.
3 straight 9.875s for the Red Rocks of Utah on the beam. Crystal Issa, the fourth to compete for the fourth-ranked team in the country.
Another beautiful candle mount. It's always a popular one with the crowd. Different series than we've seen from the Utes tonight, but still very big. Flick lay, so hard to do. Typically what we're going to see the gymnasts do for their series pass, their acro series, is a backhand swing with one layout. Crystal does a great job of adding that second layout in. Crystal is just so fun to watch. Doesn't she just look like she's having so much fun up there? Backhand swing, gainer, full from that big smile. So much fun. If you guys follow them on Instagram, you'll see they mic her up at one point, and she looks just as fun in practice as she does in meets.
It's easy to have fun when you do that. When you're that awesome. Shailin Murakami is the anchor leg for Southern Utah on the uneven bars, following Bentley's 9.8.
Shai does a little bit different spin around here, called a Higgins. Huge Jaeger. You can see how far away she caught the bar. That's exactly what the judges want to see. So risky to do it that way, but it's flawless and you're not going to receive a deduction. Big full twisting double back, the tiniest shift of the feet on the landing. Overall,
Great opening rotation for Southern Utah. And now again with the Red Rocks and Utah back on beat. Issa with a 9-9. That is the best of the 4 competitors for Utah thus far. And now Paulson.
Abby's another very strong beam performer. Finished ranked 6th nationally last year. She's going to do that difficult aerial layout series. Again, you can see how she was just a little bit off and really pulled it in. Hips went just a little bit forward on the layout, causing it to not turn over quite as well as we've seen her do it. However, she was able to hold onto it so well and reduce any deductions that could be taken on it. So the hard part about when you fall like that is that they are still taking deductions. And so you don't even have a chance. You can see a little bit of shock and then just has to dance right through it. You don't really have your chance to pull it together. And she did such a good job of just continuing the routine. Very uncharacteristic fault from Abby tonight.
Down to Utah State. Eve Jackson anchoring the vault for the Aggies and following the Wells 975.
First time competing vault. Handles it beautifully. You saw, okay, so that is what we've been looking for tonight as far as a pike down goes. Baby pike down, but because she piked her feet down, it led to the tiniest hop in the back. If she had just stayed really straight, I've seen her do it in warm-ups, she would have stuck that landing. Vault is so tricky because on your other events, if you have nerves, you kind of have a chance to get into your skills, but vault is over in 1 second, so it's a really easy one to let your nerves take over a little bit.
There's Dudley for BYU on the floor. Vitkowskis with a 9.875, by far the best score that the Cougars have had in their first rotation.
A lot of new performers out here tonight from BYU. Big double pike. The way that the judges typically decide if it's a controlled step back or not is if that first foot stays planted. We saw how it shifted back just a tiny bit. She's had so much power. We're going to look as season goes on for her to control that power just a little bit. Definitely better to have too much power than not enough, though. Final pass. Not off backhand spring double tuck. Beautiful landing. Great opening set there to start her call floor career.
Another freshman thrust into the spotlight.
I'm very impressed with Floor's endurance. A lot of times what we see at the beginning of season is teams will have third passes that land a little bit short. Their endurance just isn't quite there yet. But I do not feel like we've seen that tonight with Floor.
Miley O'Keefe on the beam for the Utes. Two-time national champion. On the uneven bars and floor, she's also pretty good on the beam.
So good on the beam. She is just so calm and collected up there.
Four-time Pac-12 champion. And we could spend the entirety of the beam routine talking about her resume and not finish it.
That right there is exactly what we have been wanting those aerial back layouts to look like. You can see hers traveled a little bit more, got a tiny bit more height. It didn't go forward at all. And that's exactly what we'll be looking for as the season continues from all of the youths during that series.
For context, we should add that she finished #1 in the nation on beam in 2021.
So when we say she's the best,
We mean it.
she's the best.
What a way to close out this opening rotation.
see her do a beat jump into the aerial. That's just giving her more connection value. Bonus tense.
Back to the floor and BYU. Frndly with a 9-8. Now BYU hoping Sydney Benson, the sophomore out of Riverton, can deliver a solid score so that they have the opportunity to drop the 9-4-7-5 from Hunter.
I'm excited to see this routine tonight. It was choreographed by her club teammate and current Cal Berkeley gymnast, Yvonne Clausey. Big opening pass. Huge double tuck. Tons and tons of amplitude on that, and she handled it so well. It's very easy for the gymnasts when they have tumbling passes that high to bounce out of them pretty far, but she handled the landing well. Getting ready for her second pass. Front layout, front full, a little bit short on that. So the issue with landing short over landing having too much power is that deductions do not exist in a vacuum. So if she lands a little bit short, then the judges will think, okay, she must have not had enough amplitude, she must have not had enough turnover. So we always want to make the mistake of going too aggressive rather than holding back and trying to control too much. Nice big double pike, good control on the landing. Another good first routine for these freshmen.
I would imagine that given all of the COVID problems within the BYU lineup, not allowing several key athletes to be here tonight, that Garv Young is feeling pretty good about what he saw in the first rotation.
I'm feeling good about it. I'm very impressed. We were sent lineups yesterday, and even today we were sent changes to the lineups because they were finding out that certain girls would not be able to compete. So for this team to come together and just fill in those spots so seamlessly is so impressive.
Looking at the bar scores for Southern Utah, Murakami and Nip with the team high 9.85s. Utah State's vault scores finished off with a high of 9.8 from Jackson. That's what you definitely want to see from your ankle leg there.
You know, I actually thought those scores would all be higher based on what we were seeing, the few vaults we did see. I'm excited to see as season goes on how those scores improve.
Utah Utes on beam. O'Keefe with the 9.8. We saw the uncharacteristic mistakes from Paulson with the 9.425, but the Red Rocks can drop that score and they will take a clear first rotation lead into the second set.
We should have mentioned that for our new gymnastics fans, 6 girls will compete, only 5 scores count. So as we can see here on floor, we will be able to drop the 9.475 by Hunter and count all of those 9.8s in set.
We're going to take our first break from the Best of Utah meet. Great to have everyone around the world and country and all over the Gymternet joining us for a quad meet unlike any other. Stay with us for more on BYU TV.
They prefer to be bringing the heat, getting set for success, demonstrating their drive. But when their blood and sweat turns to tears or any...
Don't do it again. I tell you. Oh. You.
Brady. ESU Gymnastics on BYU TV is brought to you by Brady Industries. Honestly better. Les Olson Company, your office technology partner. eAssist Dental Health Education Foundation. Learn more at visityourdentist.org. And by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Welcome back to our Friday night showcase on BYU TV, the Best of Utah meet from the Maverick Center in West Valley City, Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City. We're looking at our Brady Industries rotation scores. Brady Industries, a provider of commercial cleaning supplies and equipment. Utah with the 49.375 to open up on beam. That'll give them a solid lead over Southern Utah with a 49.125 on bars. Utah State with a 48.825 on vault. Mikkel, you thought that maybe should have been a few tenths higher. And BYU with a 48.775.
I did expect Utah State's vaults to be a little bit higher. I mean, we didn't see all of them, but the ones that we did see were fantastic.
Coach, I saw some very excited reactions from you watching your gymnast vault. What have you been most impressed with the way they started this meet?
Just doing what we've been doing in practice, just normal, and it was a great start. I mean, for a freshman to step up and start off the meet with a big, giant stick like that was awesome.
Absolutely, and
And then they just continued. It was great, so the energy kept going.
and so did the reactions, so did the excitement. The excitement continued. Now the rest of the meet, there's 3 events left. These are some longer rotations, takes a bit longer than vault. How do you manage some of those nerves with your gymnast?
Just doing what we've been practicing, and like I said, being normal, and if anything, if any of them feel like they're getting up here, they come talk to us, and we try and bring them back down. So, yeah, just excited for the next 3 events.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Amy Smith of Utah State with Kiki Solano. Figuring out the clock meet. These just happen fast, Mikkel.
These are so fast. There's a lot happening here. Starting this rotation off strong, though. I love how Shai just gets up there and is so casual. She does not look stressed at all. This is exactly what you want your teammates to see. Big flick, lay, flick. So when we see these 3-part series, the gymnasts are looking for a lot of bonus is what they're going for. Typically that's about 3 extra tenths bonus just in that series alone.
Shiloh Rue coming.
Good landing. Nice quick routine. This is what, when the gymnasts do those passes that have a lot of difficulty and a lot of connection value bonuses, they're able to get on the equipment, get their stuff done, and just get right back off. It eliminates more opportunities for deductions.
Second rotation has Utah on the floor, and Red Rocks, Abby Paulson lead us up.
First pass, front flip round off, back handspring back 2.5. These are more elite style passes that we're starting to see with the front flips and the back 1.5 layouts. With the front flip, you are required to have a tumbling pass that goes forward. Usually that's what we see to cover that requirement. Nice second pass there. Gymnasts are required to do, there is like an artistry requirement. They want to see that the gymnast can do dance, can be up high, can be down on the ground. So when you see that, it's not only to take a little bit of a breather before her final pass, it is also to fulfill that requirement of different heights. College gymnastics, we're starting to see dancing immediately out of the tumbling pass. We're also starting to see jumps immediately out of the tumbling pass to help reduce deductions and take necessary steps.
Abby Paulson on the floor for Utah. We'll transition now to the uneven bars. There's Jessica Gutierrez for Utah State and head coach Amy Smith.
Jesse's really worked on cleaning up her form and her landings during preseason, and I'm excited to see what she puts up tonight. Big Malone right into the shoot half handstand. Soul circle, so the soul circle isn't worth it. Because really handled that double leg well, let go a tiny bit early. You could see it went all the way out to the edge of the mat. A lot of times that will result in a short landing, but she handled it so well.
Now for Elise Rollins on the vault for BYU following Haley P2's 9.75.
New vault for Elise this year. She's going to twist onto the vault, tuck off. This is a huge vault. Vault scores are different than the other events. You have a start value for your vault depending on how hard it is. Most of the vaults we see tonight will be a 9.95 start value, meaning that is the highest they can get if they do it perfectly. That vault that we just saw from Rollins does start at a 10-0, meaning that she has the ability to score higher right from the get-go than the other competitors.
Rachel Smith up next for Southern Utah on the beam. Murakami 9.85 to open the scoring for the Thunderbirds.
Such a hard series right there. That is so hard. I feel like that might be even harder than the aerial back layout. You're just having to do that round off so aggressively, and again, it has that twisting component to it into the back layout. She did quite well. Round off back 1.5. Gymnast is allowed to use 2 of the same skills per routine without a deduction. Had she done a round off somewhere else in the routine, we would have seen a 10 off. But with the 2, she can just showcase what she's very good at.
Back to the floor with the 4th ranked Red Rocks. Here's Lucy Stanhope. Abby Paulson with a 9.875 for those keeping score at home.
I had a few people asking me following the Red Rock preview. Lucy had Tom stand out there on the floor. Why was that allowed on the preview and not in the meets? Previews are just to see, inner squads are just to see how you feel out there on the floor, how it's going to look. We will not see Tom out there tonight. And obviously she does not need it. We did see that. And will receive 1/10 off your routine score. Huge double tuck, so much amplitude on that. So if you're the casual gymnastics fan at home, then you can see she's tumbled backward this entire time. So what you'll be looking for in this third pass is some kind of front move. Round off back 1.5 front layout, and that fulfills that requirement of tumbling both forward and backwards. Very strong routine for Lucy. Again, just that little out of bounds deduction as season goes on. That's another one that we tend to see less and less as season goes on. We learn to control our nerves and feel how big the floor really is.
Big fall on bars for Utah State in the Evans routine, which leaves the Aggies with a score of 9 flat. And now it's up to Rebecca Wells.
Rebecca competed bars for the first time last year at regionals. That's a big meet for the Aggies, and she came out with the highest score, and you can see why. She has a lot of difficulty here in her connection value. Looking for a big dismount. Big fall in. Works very hard to control that landing.
While we celebrate that routine along with the Aggies on the uneven bars and Rebecca Wells. We'll now go back to BYU on vault. Good start for the Cougars with Peaches 9.75 and Elise Rollins with a 9.8. BYU will only compete 5 on the vault tonight.
Yeah, so unfortunately with those restrictions, they are down most of their vault lineup, but look at who is stepping in.
Sophie Dudley.
This is why it is so important to have a very deep lineup. This is her first vault ever in college, and you can see how proud she is. Again, vault is one that's pretty easy to mess up because it's just so fast. You can let your nerves get the best of you very fast. And these freshmen are coming in and really handling that new pressure well.
Now to Carly McLean, so top on the beat.
for SUU, ranks 33 nationally in the all-around. Opens with a nice flip lay. Oh, it's so tricky to hold on to it once you turn sideways and straighten your legs. The key is to try and bend your legs, but sometimes you just can't. Once you fall, you have 30 seconds to get back on the apparatus and just try to finish your routine as strong as you possibly can. Because SU doesn't know if they're going to have to count this routine or not.
Oh, another fall.
At this point, we're just going to be looking for a strong finish. Again, very uncharacteristic. We're not going to be seeing these mistakes as season goes on. Nice, 1.5 dismount. You can see she's obviously disappointed with how she did. This is not how she normally performs. But I expect to see a lot of really great routines later in the season from her.
2 falls from McLean. Don't be surprised to see a score of about 8.5 come in on that. Here is Sydney Benson, sophomore for BYU. Every vault matters for the Cougars with a 5-athlete rotation.
Huge fall. Sid is actually working 1.5, which we'll see later in the season. The 1.5 is a 10.0 start value. It's great that she's able to downgrade to that full for now because she does it so well. The fact that she has the 1.5 means that she's able to do the full relatively easily.
Once again, we move our coverage to the floor. Kara Eaker. She follows a 9.85 from Grace McCollum and a 9.625 from Lucy Stanhope.
Grace Kara typically does a 2-pass routine. To do a 2-pass routine, you have to have quite a bit of difficulty in your opening pass. Triple full. Lands is so solid. That is an E-level skill. She'll get 2 tons of bonus just for throwing that skill. And then what we need to see here at the end is her C plus C for an extra 3 tenths in her final pass. You are required to have bonus tenths in your tumbling and your dance. The judges don't want to see that you're a really good tumbler, but you can't do any loops or jumps. And they also don't want to see that you're a beautiful dancer, but you really don't have the difficulty to be competing at this level. So it's really important that you can show it everywhere in your routine.
Two-time world champion at Team USA.
Beautiful back 1.5 front full. That is the C plus C. I believe you're required to have B plus C as your second pass if you're only doing 2 passes. So she does more than necessary to complete that 2-pass routine requirement and handles it all beautifully.
Nice applause for Eaker in a crowd that is full of red and very much Red Rock heavy. Can't say enough about what this Utah team means to the University of Utah and their entire athletic department. And it's wild. I mean, if you want a real experience of what a home meet advantage feels like,
Yes.
go watch Utah in the Huntsman Center. It's
Yes.
amazing.
Very loud. Their fans do come out to support. Beautiful handstand right into the hecht. Ooh, a little wild there on the catch. Handles it well. You want to catch right parallel to the bar. You can see her one shoulder came over a little bit. Look at the recovery though. Yes. It's a little bit easy when you, on bars, when you have a little bit of mistake, it's easy to start rushing, and she didn't do that at all. And then you could see how well she recovered in that stuck dismount.
Brooks with a huge landing. We move quickly Back to Hannah Nip, and there was an 8-4.
The Thunderbirds, that's who got an 8-4-5 on me because she fell twice.
On Nip to get things back on track for the Thunderbirds.
If you fall off the apparatus, it is an automatic 5/10 off. Unlike most of the deductions in gymnastics, it's not up to 2 tenths, up to 5 tenths. It's just a flat 5 tenths off your routine. Beautiful flick leg. Another gymnast that just looks very at home on the beam. I think it's important to remember how skinny the beam is. It's a little less than 4 inches wide at 10 centimeters. These gymnasts are performing things on the beam that most people couldn't even dream of doing on the floor.
You know, in the audience, they're wearing face masks because of COVID.
Nice beam dismount, just a tiny bit low on the landing. You're going to see tonight what's called the college stick. It means you didn't actually stick it, but you're going to hurry and slow and pretend you did. And hopefully that minimizes some deductions.
We need to make a rule book just for you, Mccollum. Berkeleyisms.
Berkeley. No, that's a real thing. College stick.
Hannah Nip certainly will have a much better score. Brianna Brooks, 9.85. And Utah State with Maya Fishwick to close out their second rotation.
Rolling right into the shoot over hand. Tiny bit short on that handstand. The judges want to see it within 10 degrees. Ooh, huge double front. That double front is so difficult to do. It is a blind landing, meaning that she can't see the ground until she's already landed. Your air awareness has to be spot on. It's a little bit tricky when you get into your first meets because all the bars feel a little bit different. Some go a little faster, some are a little bouncier. And so I'm sure we'll see more sticks as season goes on. But yes, that's a very difficult dismount to do.
Here is Sydney Solosky, the University of Utah, anchor leg on the floor. Best score for the Red Rocks as far as Paulson's 9.875.
Huge opening pass here. It's called a double A. Body will be totally straight in there. So hard to do, and she handles it so well. A lot of power on those deep passes. Sydney is the #1 returning scorer for the Utes on this event, and you can see why. The tumbling is huge. She's out there looking so confident. She's just a very aggressive performer on this event. Slowing down, catch your breath before this last pass. Count off back, we're going to have Frndly, beautiful forming air.
Sydney Solosky. Team captain, 4-time All-American on the floor. Twice in the regular season and twice at the NCAA championships. Just a little taste of what she brings for the Red Rocks. We're just about through 2 entire rotations. If you're just joining us on BYU TV, this is the Best of Utah meet featuring 4 teams from across the Beehive State, ranging from Logan to Cedar City, literally the whole state covered. And now you look at the beam scores for Southern Utah. Schwartzy finishes with a 9.325. That will be counted because of the 8.45 that is dropped by McLean. So Southern Utah will take a little bit of a hit there and score a 48.325 overall. Utah State scores on the bars now. Fishwood finishing with a 9.675. The Aggies compile a 48.725 on their bars routine. Solowski's 9.825 on floor. Just like consistency. 9.875, 9.85, 9.8, 9.825, 9.825. Those scores will get better. This is an opening meet.
Yes, and this is what we want to see. We really don't, from these teams, we really don't want to be seeing a lot of scores below 9.8 at the level that these guys are wanting to compete at.
Utah with a 49.175. BYU on the vault with a 48.575. Only 5 competing for the Cougars once again. Here's Kiki Solano with Southern Utah head coach Scott Bowman.
Coach, a really strong start on bars, a couple of falls on beam. How do you want your gymnasts to respond heading to floor?
You know what, all we can do is hope that they just brush that away and just let it go and get to the next event and just continue to do their job. This is a very seasoned team. That's very uncharacteristic on beam, so I'm not too worried about it.
Now you're halfway through the meet. What have you seen from your gymnasts that you've really liked so far that you want to see more in the second half?
I like what I'm seeing out of our younger kids right now. They're doing a great job. Nikki Thomas and Kaylee Cole, the last young lady to do beam. So I've really been impressed with what I've seen out of our young kids so far.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Scott Bowman, one of the great guys, and 31 years with Southern Utah.
No, and his gymnasts all love him. I love what he said about the younger kids performing so well. I think all of the coaches can feel that tonight. This is a very intimidating first meet. It's on what is called competing on the podium. You're raised up really high. You can't be with your teammates the same way you normally would be. Very intimidating first meet, and these athletes are just handling it so well.
Well, he's going to plan on being around for a few more seasons. He's contracted through 2024. Number 25 in the preseason poll. And finished in 4th at last year's Best of Utah meet. Bowman and the Thunderbirds hoping to pace for a better finish this year round, obviously. We'll take another break. We're halfway through a very exciting start to the 2022 gymnastics season across the Beehive State. We're back with more gymnastics. The best of place. Only competing 5 on the ball. They weren't even sure they were going to have 5 the balls, Mccollum, but they did, and they put together, all things considered, a decent overall score.
Right, these women have really stepped up. I'm sure a lot of them were not planning on competing at the beginning of the meet, but they've really come through for the Cougars. Nice landings. I was very impressed with the amplitude. I was very impressed with the way that they handled the pressure of competing ball for the first time.
Take a look at Brianna Brooks on the uneven bars.
Gorgeous lines. Again, we are looking for handstands. Just that little bit of a twist there. But then she comes back and really just nails this dismount.
9.85 to lead the Aggies on that event. And Charlotte Murakami. She makes it look easy on that mount, doesn't she?
So easy. Very artistic. You can't just get up and get your skills done. But she does such a great job of really showing off her abilities on the beat.
With a 9.85, now Abby Paulson leading all competitors from the Red Rocks on the floor with her 9.875, and doing so in that leadoff spot.
The leadoff spot is a little bit harder to get those high scores typically. Usually you want your higher scores placed near the back of the lineup. However, it's a very strategic move to put your more comfortable competitors at the front and set the pace for what lineup should look like.
Those are your second rotation highlights. Again, I wish we had 4 hours to show you everything that is happening.
I'm so sick of schedules not letting us watch 4 hours of gymnastics. I've been very impressed with the production team for how many routines we have been able to see tonight.
It's all happening fast, and we know that Every fan base wants to see every routine.
I know.
But we thank you for bearing with us. We'll try and show you everything that we can possibly cram in here in our coverage. Alongside Mccollum, I'm Spencer Linton. We have Kiki Solano with us. Doing a great job here at the Maverick Center on the floor, halfway through. And if you're just joining us, you're just in time because we've got more elite gymnastics on the way. Utah State will lead off our third rotation coverage. The Aggies are on the beam. It will be Rebecca Wells, who has a 9.775 on her bars routine and a 9.75 on her vault. And another thing I love about the Gymternet, okay, is that we just got this tweeted from @MaraPCF, who's in the Washington, D.C. area. She says the whole Gymternet thought that Eker was pronounced Eker until we found out it's actually pronounced Eker.
Well, there you go.
So we will make that adjustment.
I just love that you know what the Gymternet is. I appreciate that.
We need to embrace the community to fully appreciate just how amazing this sport is and the fans that follow it for sure. Amy Smith is asking for some clarification for scores. So while she waits for that, we'll speed along to bars coverage and Sydney Benson from BYU.
Another first-time bar competitor tonight. You can see the gymnast mounting off the springboard. You are only allowed to stand on the low bar one time in your routine, so a lot of times this is how we avoid a deduction for doing that. Hold on to it. That is so scary when you're a gymnast. You
Hello?
have to hit it in the handstand to get credit for it. But yeah, sometimes it goes over the other way.
Yeah, I put the shelf back in.
His gymnasts have very difficult
and then I put the stuff on it.
dismounts. Typically, all the dismounts you'll see
You
being
didn't
trained
feel
are
like taking a nap this
three-level
afternoon because
dismounts.
you had guests overnight.
So from Benson on the uneven bars for BYU to the floor.
I'm just watching gymnastics now. Because this gymnastics meet was on last night.
Southern
And I
Utah
just recorded on the DVR.
after 2 rotations.
What are your plans for tonight? You and Dad watching Netflix or what?
Front double twist again, an E-level opening pass. Handles it very well. As season goes on, you're going to see, so she did this little arm swirl.
There's still
We'll see that
football
more in control.
going on? I thought the
I can't
regular
emphasize
season
enough
was
how
over.
difficult these E-level tumbling passes truly are because
Oh,
these
okay.
gymnasts just make them look so easy and effortless.
Have you guys ate lunch yet or you were too full for lunch? I had like a crab salad and 2 slices of salami inside the burrito. So I made it a wrap. But then I also did have some wheat thins, crackers, as well as cheese. It was on a tray.
Again, another strategic move. She can obviously land that very well and is going to minimize any landing deductions that she can get.
I'll talk to you later. I'm busy recording on YouTube.
Early third rotation. And here is one of the few seniors competing tonight for BYU. Sarah Barone following Benson's 9.675.
Nice toe on, toe off, immediately into that ray. Shoot over. The ray is an E-level skill. She's going to receive so much bonus for doing that. There is a ton of difficulty in this routine. Toe front half. We don't see that dismount very often. She did the toe on, toe off into it. When you do a C-level dismount, you have to do it in combination with another move. So you saw she did the stalder into the toe on toe dismount. That was a fun routine to watch. A lot of different elements that we don't get to see very often. Back to beam.
Here's Rebecca Wells, Mccollum. And the Aggies, though delayed a little bit, now able to get going on the beam.
It's the worst when you are ready and excited to compete, and then you find out actually you're not going to do that yet. It's a good opportunity to make sure that you are in control of your nerves and emotions and can get up just when you're ready. Woo! Big leap pass there. Helping from the series, flick lay. Seems just a little bit anxious up there tonight. We're seeing a lot, they're called balance checks and wobbles. A balance check is like a little baby wobble. Basically, anything that is movement side to side on beam is a small deduction. Huge dismount though, nice double twist.
Rebecca Wells. Solid beam routine. Now Carly McLean, we'll see how she recovers mentally after a forgettable beam rotation where she scored an 8.45.
Yeah, for sure a less experienced gymnast. I would not know what to expect right now. With Carly, I'm sure she's just put it in the back of her mind and is ready to move on and perform well for the team on floor.
Following the 9-7 from the teammate Audrey Schwartz.
Nice double pike. We can see that she does have a mat out there on the floor. There is no deduction. You can have up to 2 mats on the floor. The idea is really just to protect those ankles. It's a long season. We want to protect the gymnasts and have them make it through the whole thing rather than beating their bodies up right at the beginning. Nice second pass there. Pass routines are 2 seconds, but they are the hardest 90 seconds ever. You are so time you get to this third pass a lot of times, especially at the beginning of season. Beautiful double tuck, chest just a tiny bit low on the landing. Exceptional technique on the back handspring. What we want to see, she did a great job of demonstrating that. We don't want to see any shoulder angle in these back handsprings that gymnasts are doing. We want to see nice straight body from wrist to waist.
Now to the vault. Cammie Hall. Ready to throw down some big gymnastics here. The senior out of Gainesville, Virginia.
I've been very excited to see the Utes on vaults. They already had a very strong vault team, but they've brought in Coach Jimmy Pratt to the vault coaching. And he's just a clinician, and I feel like he's really helped these women with their vaults. Nice, Yurchenko, 1.5, solid landing.
Who's that?
Okay, that 1.5 is out of a 10. We're going to see a lot of high scores tonight from the Utes because they have so many 10-0 start values.
You deserve to celebrate like that, Cammie Hall. That should float with a 9-9, Mccollum. That was outstanding.
Very, very good vault. And that's just one of their opening gymnasts. I'm excited to see what the rest of the lineup holds.
On the uneven bars for BYU. Benson with a 9.675, Barone with a 9.75. And now here is Lindsey Hunter, third to go for the Cougars.
Oh, I love her Tkachev. It has so much amplitude. Oh, nice control on that as well. Again, oh my goodness, she's making me so nervous. She's so dynamic and so aggressive on bars, but it's so easy when you throw your gymnastics this big. Look how fast those giants are going. She is just flying, so aggressive, but it does make it easier to make mistakes. Overall, though, that was a great set. She held on to every single handstand and did a great dismount.
Now to Bree Clark. Again, a delay for Utah State on the beam. slowed them down in this rotation just a bit. But Wells starting things off with a 9.8. Really nice score for head coach Amy Smith in the Evans.
Huge opening move right here. Punch front into a straddle jump. The standing punch front is really quite incredible. That little pass right there gets her a full 4/10 of bonus. Woo, hold on to it. I feel like we're seeing a couple balance checks on beat tonight from all the teams we've seen so far. They're just uncharacteristic. I think it's a combination of being very early in the season, and again, this podium meet is a little bit intimidating and takes a little bit of time to get used to. Nice front full, a little bit short on the landing, causing her to take a small step backwards.
Back to the vault for the Red Rocks. Do you like what Cammy Hall did? Get a load of what Jaden Rucker is capable of here.
I feel like I'm being so judgmental of the vault scores tonight. I was really hoping for something a little higher. Oh my goodness, so much amplitude on that vault.
I know that's not a stuck landing, Mccollum, but that vault is so difficult.
It's so difficult. You're doing a 1.5 flip off your hands and then adding a 1.5 twist into it as well. Blind landing. You cannot see the ground until you've already hit the ground. So your air awareness just has to be spot on. Yeah, really fantastic
So
stuff.
difficult. I mean, so if Hall gets a 9.875, how does that not get at least a 9.875 with the difficulty of that? We'll see the scores coming up in just a bit. Meantime, Haley P2 for BYU on the uneven bars, and this has been the best rotation for the Cougars thus far.
Yeah, they've been really doing well. I'm impressed with their depth. Oh, see, that's exactly what we want to see. If it's just a little bit scary, if you're a little bit scared thinking they might miss the bar, then they fit perfectly. They want to be that far away. Prepping for a dismount here, gorgeous handstand. Big full twisting double back, just a little bit of a hop on the landing. Overall, just another really good routine for the Cougars.
Haley P2, anticipate that'll be over a 9.8 score for the Cougars.
Spencer, I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous when Coach Young said, we have 9 girls out. That's like half of their team. And the way they have just stepped up to the plate and came out and performed, I am so impressed.
Hannah Nipp, in her own right, has been impressive for Southern Utah.
And it's just another very clean performer for SUU. Opens with a nice big double pike. Nice full front leg. What we'll usually see, this is one of the differences with a podium meet, we usually see your entire team surrounded to. Final pass, round off against double tuck. Ooh, a little bit soft in the landing. We want to see the legs a little bit stronger, but she keeps it up, and that's what matters the most.
Hannah Nipp calmly and collectively makes her way out the floor. From her expression, she probably expected better, Mccollum, but again.
Do you know what? It's just that final pass. She's very good. We've seen this routine in the past. She's very good at double backs. But yeah, it's just first time of the season, getting used to different equipment, getting used to how to compete.
It was Alexia Birch, and indeed she's following 9 from Rucker.
Oh my goodness, these are so good.
Now the Red Rocks are pacing for a comfortable 197 plus tonight.
Just very good vaults. What we're looking for on vault is a combination of distance and height from the table, in addition to a stuck landing. And I feel like that's what they're displaying so well tonight. The height they are getting on these vaults is very impressive.
Brianna Brooks, so good on the uneven bars. That 9.85 for the Aggies. Now we see what the Utah State budding star can do on the beat.
Beautiful front aerial right into her series. With that front aerial flip, she will receive 3/10 bonus. The front aerial is very hard to do. We've been talking about blind landings on vault. That is a blind landing down on the beat. That was a sneaky little college move there. The idea is if you're going to make a mistake, you are going to just play it out as well as possible. She over-rotated her full turn just a tiny bit, went ahead and danced out of it. That was another great troubleshooting that we just got to see. She was a tiny bit off on her leap, just stuck with it, and should receive no deductions as far as that landing goes. Prepping for the dismount. Woo! Excellent troubleshooting in that routine today. There could have been a few moments that it went downhill fast, but she just really held onto it, and I'm so impressed with how she minimized any deductions that could have happened.
I'm just frustrated that this isn't going to last longer, Mccollum. We're coming to the end of 3 rotations already.
We're seeing so much good gymnastics tonight.
Anna Bramblett hoping to add to that trend of good gymnastics. And how about back-to-back 9.825s from BYU on the bars between Abby Beeston and Haley P2?
Yeah, these scores on bars are looking great. Good Jaeger right into the shoot over. Lots of good connections happening here on bars tonight. Really good dismount, double layout.
Okay.
Holds on to that landing.
Celebration for the coach guard Young, also caught on camera.
Emma tore her ACL last year, and sometimes that can be very stressful coming back into these really hard landings like that double A. But I'm so impressed with the way she's just trusting her body, trusting the healing process, and just going really aggressive tonight.
BYU may just have their first 49 in a rotation score tonight. Now, Grace Mccollum, international superstar in gymnastics, is the anchor leg for the Red Rocks on vault. Jaden Rucker put up a 9.9. Cammie Hall, the 9.875. What does Mccollum have?
Ooh, a little bit different of a vault. Half on, front tap, half out. I'm going to assume that is a 10-0 start value as well, especially with her being at the end of the lineup. Typically, anytime you do that half on, it's just so tricky that you get that 10-0 start value.
The Red Rocks have completed their vault rotation. Should do so with a massive score. Sophie Sullivan, repping Manhattan Beach, California, competing for the Aggies, 5th to go on the beam for Utah State.
Super excited to see Sophie coming back. She opted out of the 2021 season, and I know it's been challenging to get back in, but look at how good she looks here on beam. Just tons of difficulty that we remember from Sophie doing in years past. Lots of good aggressive acros. Acro is any time that you're doing a flip. Again, you are required to have bonus in your acro and in your dance skills. They don't want to see, the judges don't want to see that you're only good at one or the other. She does a really great job of balancing that out. Really solid dismount there. I'm excited as Sophie has battled back into the beam lineup and to see her more on the other events as season continues on.
Now we take it back to the floor with Kayla Horton in Southern Utah. T-Birds could use a big score after a 9-5. Their previous competitor round.
Back 1.5 front full. Kuchishi's not quite all the way in the corner, totally fine. You don't have to be all the way in the corner, especially for that pass where it's just one skill. Most gymnasts just start in the corner so that they don't go out of bounds. That's for her full pass. Round off back, 1.5 Frndly. Again, we talked about this earlier on being you are allowed to do 2 of the same skill. So it's okay that she had the 1.5 in the beginning and then another 1.5 at the end. That's totally fine.
Kayla Horton, strong finish for Southern Utah. That'll help their rotation score. Now we're able to drop the 9-5. Back to the beam. And Kayla McCray. Freshman, the bunker return. And Amy Smith and the Aggies like the way she handles pressure, which is why she's the equal leg here.
Beautiful flip roll. I love when we get to see it from this angle. You can see just how skinny that beam truly is and how easy it would be. If you're off by 1/4 of an inch, then that is a huge deal on beam. Beautiful side aerial into a split jump. Other side aerial into the back fall, solid landing. That was a great set. I really didn't see a lot of deductions there.
Let's take a look at some third rotation scores now. Amy Smith with a huge hug for Kayla McCray. BYU on the bars as we anticipated, Kel. Their best rotation, and the scores signify that. 3 9-8-2-5s to close out. The Cougars will drop the 9-6-7-5. They will hit 49 even as a team score in rotation number 3.
For those of you wondering what the 48-49, just know that 49 is considered a good score. 48.5 is like, we did okay. And that's what they'll be going for tonight, are those 49s.
Utah with a 49.325 on vault, highlighted by McCollum and Rutgers 9-9s. Hall with the very explosive 9-8-7-5. How about Utah State on the beam? There's a reason that Amy Smith was so happy with McWright. She got a 9-8-5 to follow Sullivan's 9-8-5. They'll drop the 9-5-5 from Clark and score a 49.1. Southern Utah ran into some bumps on the floor. The Thunderbirds score a 48.525. That was highlighted by the routine we just showed you a few minutes ago from Kayla Horton and her 9-7-5. We'll tabulate all those scores right now. The Red Rocks in control. Utah State number 2. BYU and Southern Utah competing for 3rd and 4th. Those scores are very close. Stay with us on BYU.
Value to our check customers.
You're not
Love BYU.
On with your family.
when you're down.
Others.
Is hope.
It is brought to you Utah and abroad at Wilmer O'Reilly.
The best of Utah meet through 3 rotations. And your updated scores show the Red Rocks of Utah in firm control. A score of 147.875. Yes, they will eclipse the 197 mark for sure. Just a matter of by how much. Utah State, maybe the surprise of the night. Look at their score after the beat rotation. 146.725. They're in second place. BYU, 146.35. They currently sit in third place after a great bars rotation, and Southern Utah in fourth with a 146.050. Let's hear from BYU head coach Gar Young now with Kiki Salon.
Coach, you had a lot of freshmen in your lineup. What have you been most impressed with from those gymnasts?
Well, I mean, and not only a lot of freshmen, but a lot of first-timers out there. So we have some fifth-year seniors that never competed floor, that's never done vault or bars. So I think just the resiliency of this group has been phenomenal. And I think this is the trademark of our team, which is our depth. You know, we train a lot of kids, we get them prepared, and when someone comes out, whether it be for an injury or sickness, we have another group ready to step up.
Absolutely. You have one more rotation. How do you want your gymnasts to finish strong on beam? What's your advice to them there?
Yeah, what we're looking for is just be aggressive. You know, like I said, it's not our strongest lineup. In terms of an overall global meet, we'll get some kids back soon. But, you know, I want to see who doesn't hold back. You know, go big, flip, put those skills down. If you come off, you come off, but don't shy away from the moment.
Thank you so much, Coach. Good luck.
Guard Young making the most of what he can with his roster. Now, Mikkel, I know that the scores, because it's the first meet, aren't going to weigh as heavily on the coaches' minds, but man, it would be something if BYU, with everything that has happened, could hit at least 195. And they can do that with a big rotation here.
For sure. I was really impressed with what Coach Young said. I think all the coaches know it's the first meet out. We're going to see mistakes. I love how he said he wants to see aggressive mistakes from going too hard, too big, rather than mistakes from holding back. It just really sets you up for later in the season. Rollins is our beam queen. She's the beam captain this year. And she always just looks so solid up there. Nice flip into the full twisting gainer. Great landing. Overall, that was a really solid set.
Elise Rollins leading things off for BYU. Very consistent manner on the beam. Now to the floor of Utah State. Here is Ariel Toomey.
Preps for that opening pass. Nice front double full. Coach Amy was really excited about this routine. She feels like Toomey is just such a fun gymnast, and she has this really fun routine to match her personality. We'll see here, you're seeing a lot of dance. I'm assuming what we're going to see is a 2-pass routine rather than a 3-pass routine. If you have the difficulty, then it's a very strategic move to get rid of that 3rd pass. It's just fewer things that can have deductions. We'll be looking for some connection bonus here. Nice back 1.5 front full. The C plus E is 3/10 of bonus. So between that pass getting her 3/10 of bonus and her opening pass delivering 2/10 of bonus, she only had to get 1 more 10th of bonus in her lead pass. So you can see why they made the decision to just get rid of that 3rd pass and not even risk having unnecessary deductions.
We await Ariel Toomey's score on the floor. Now to the vault.
Wow.
There is Eddie Cacciola.
So nice and tight on the vault. That is what we'll be looking for tonight. We want to see just really stiff, and instead of pushing off the vault, we want to see it rebounding off the vault. Tiny bit of a pipe down on the landing, but overall a great opening vault for SUU.
Early 4th rotation. The Red Rocks of Utah in control, pacing for a rather easy meet win, but that doesn't mean they won't want to go out with a bang.
Gymnastics is kind of tricky because you don't count wins and losses going into postseason. You count scores. And so a lot of these teams, even if they might not win, they might not lose, but they still want to score really well because that's what matters. Ooh, hold on.
Abby Beeston following a 9.85 from Elise Rollins.
Abby's did a great job. She was just a little bit off on her very first skill. It's very easy if you're off at any point in your routine to start rushing. And she's just done a great job pacing herself and continuing on strong. Nice gainer pike off the end to a super solid landing.
A little wobble early in that routine, but a nice recovery for Abby Beeston, and that should produce a decent score.
For sure recovers well. That's what you're really looking for at this point is just recovering well. We know mistakes are going to be made tonight. We want to see how well they bounce back.
Here is Sage Johnson, freshman from nearby Lehigh, Utah, about a 30-minute drive from campus at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. Second to compete on bars, a 9.825 for Morgan.
Super excited to see Sage tonight. She is the two-time national champion on this event. You can see just tons of difficulty. We've already seen 3 releases. That's one more than most athletes choose to do. Raise her a big dismount. Nice double. Oh, there's that college stick. We're just going to fake it as much as we can. That's the goal. Overall, super, super good routine from Sage. Nice start to her college career.
Back to the vault, Southern Utah. Here's Rachel Smith after a 9.75 to begin the scoring for the Thunderbirds.
Rachel Smith has one of those tricky vaults where she does the twist onto the vault, and then she actually does a pike off instead of the tuck off. It's not worth anything more. It's just like a flex. Like, she's so good at it, she can go ahead and do it in a pike.
Good gymnastics from Rachel Smith. We'll take you back to the floor now. The Utah State is finishing their quad meets. Here's Trinity Brown. How about the 9.85 from Ariel Toomey?
Great start. We are starting with a 9.85. It just really sets the tone for what your lineup should expect.
So grateful to have so many of you watching across the world on BYU TV.
That was a huge opening pass. It is so hard to get power out of a punch front. And so the fact that you're punch front into that double back is very impressive. Really strong second pass. Then just slowing it down before that third pass, getting some energy. Round off back handspring, double pike. Tiny bit soft on the landing, but really holds on to it well. Another good set for USU.
Trinity Brown receiving some well-deserved congratulations from her teammates. Now back to the bars. for Abby Paulson. She'll be followed by McCollum, Issa, and O'Keefe. That lineup is just unbelievable.
These guys had such a strong lineup without even adding their freshman class in. Beautiful Maloney right into the pack. Switch kip. She has a very difficult dismount here. She goes giant full into the full in. Oh, just the double back tonight. Wow, great landing. So we see the double back. She has to do that full twisting giant before the double back's a C. And again, if we want to do a C dismount, we have to do it in combination with something. And you can see she just did it all very well.
Get to the score from Abby Paulson in just a moment. That might be the best score that the Red Rocks have put up through the three competitors rather in this rotation. Now back to the vault.
Woo! Another really good vault, a little tricky landing. So when we see her bounce up and down, she's just a little bit too stiff-legged. As season goes on, we'll want to see her absorb that landing a little bit better. But overall, again, another really, really great vault.
Southern Utah trying to make a push on the vault to close out this meet on a high note. A big beam routine coming up for BYU, and as Gargan calls it, his beam fence. To spin out the word of offense. There is Eliza Millar. Schooling took a fall and scored a 9.125 for BYU after two really good scores from the Cougars. So Millar, that additional pressure once again. How about that aerial series?
So good with the flick lay. She gets 3/10 of bonus. She gets 1 bonus just for doing the D skill, 1 bonus for the connection value, and 1/10 of bonus just for doing a 3-part series. So we're seeing a lot of difficulty just in that opening pass right out of the gate. Really pretty jumps. Nice front full. We really don't see a lot of the front fulls in college gymnastics. They're a little bit hard to get good rotation without having a pike on it. You have to be pretty strong and pretty good at your front moves in order to compete that well.
Based on the reception that Millar gets there, it may just be the best beam score for BYU to this point. Now, a little bit of a shocker here. McCollum took a fall on the uneven bars, 9.325. So Crystal Issa now for the Red Rocks to try and restore order and help the Utes finish with another 49-plus score.
Such a good routine so far. I love how Crystal does straight body handstand. She does not do the straddle. So hard to do. Oh, really holds on to that giant fall into the double leg. Huge landing, huge stick. Just a huge routine overall.
Well, that'll fix some things, some frustration. It was very short-lived on the Red Rock side. We should note that Kara Aker is dealing with an injury. We're attempting more details on that in just a moment. She has been scratched from the lineup as of the third rotation. So if you're wondering why no mention of Kara Aker after some early covers, she is out for the rest of the week. Eve Jackson is the competitor for Utah State on the floor now.
I'm assuming that she's not going to receive a deduction, but her body weight stays centered, even though both of her feet moved. So that should count as a controlled landing. final pass. Now that handspring double back. Woo!
Big step.
Big step. Probably a 2/10 right there. Does do a great job of holding onto it. So again, the bigger the step, the bigger the deduction. I think technically it's written in the rule book anything larger than a yard is 2/10 off. So we can see that was a pretty significant step. But yeah, great job keeping it in bounds.
Here's Kayla Horton to finish off the vault rotation for Southern Utah in their meets.
Another one of those full-on top-off 10-0 vaults start values. Does a great job. We'll be looking for more of a stuck landing as the season rolls on.
Southern Utah entered the third rotation in fourth place out of the 14s. With a bounce back rotation on the vault, we'll see if it was enough to keep them from landing at the bottom of the standings here tonight. Crystal Lisa with a 9.875, which is the best score thus far for Utah. She is followed by Miley O'Keefe.
A little bit of pressure here on Miley. She does want to make sure she hits the set so we can drop that low score. Beautiful handstand. Nice one right into the pack. Does such a good job of doing her pirouettes directly in the handstand. The judges are looking for them to be within 10 degrees of vertical. Huge double Arabian. Another just very, very difficult dismount. Blind landing, you're twisting. We don't see a lot of them because of how difficult they are.
Miley O'Keefe, breakout season a year ago, ended with NCAA titles on the uneven bars and on the floor. Two-time national champ, the anchor leg on bars for the Red Rocks. We'll have your final score for Utah, as well as the other three teams in just a few minutes. Not before we go to Bree Clark for Utah State on the floor.
Bree Clark just brings huge tumbling to this meet tonight.
Watch
That
this.
handspring double A handles it so well. She actually has a bios, which is a double A half out. We will hope to see that later in the season. Beautiful extension there on that polka. Anytime you can show more than 180-degree split is a great thing. Don't even give the judges an option to question whether you hit that split position or not. Prepping for a very big final pass. Back 2.5 twists into a front tuck. Beautifully, the amplitude on that front tuck was gorgeous. Such a very good routine done by Bree tonight.
Oh, coach is asking for a 10. I don't think they're going to get that, but we haven't seen anything higher than a 9.9 tonight. In any event, from any competitor, that might be 9.9 plus.
We might be there finally. Spencer and I sit here at the table and all judgmental, expecting high scores all around.
BYU on the beam. Two more competitors there.
Big opening turn here, double wolf turn. Wow.
Sophia McCollum.
A lot of times you'll see them do like a little pause on those wolf turns. Handles it beautifully. Coach Natalie just says that Sophia does 9.9 and 10.0 routines all the time in practice. We should be expecting big scores from Sophia. Really good job holding on to that throughout the season. jumps and sheet jumps are a little bit tricky. You release the head, use complete sight of the beam before bringing it back down. So they are worth a little bit more because of the difficulty level. Back handspring, 1.5 twisting dismount. A little bit of a step backwards. Again, when we see the step backward, from it being short, she will get a little bit more of a deduction for that because the judges are going to say, okay, why did she step back? She must not rotate well enough. So we might see a little more deduction on that. Oh, Spencer.
Brie Clark, 9.925.
That's all we were waiting for.
Tough sledding for Jessica Gutierrez to top what Clark did. Not that she's not capable. But overall, this group rotation for all 4 teams tonight has been really, really good.
Yeah, they've been great. Double back. Does a great job getting that double tuck around. Beautiful switch lead. Double pike. Really holds on to that leg and does not let the knees touch. Had the knees touched the floor, it would have been an on-out 5/10 off. She holds it up, stays on her feet, and minimizes any deductions.
Utah State finished these off with Jessica Gutierrez. Their meet is now in the books, and we await their final overall score. We'll finish on the beam with Haley P2 with BYU. Again, pressure is on due to a 9.125. P2 needs to hit here so that BYU can salvage some very valuable tennis.
Coach Young has spoken about how he's so proud of P2 for coming back into the beam lineup. She was not a regular in beam lineup the first 4 years, and it would have been really easy for her to be like, I just don't want beam anymore, I'm going to focus on the other events. But she's stuck with it, and hopefully we'll be seeing her quite a bit this season. A little bit of a focus there happening before her some aerial series. Kayla does a great job of just pacing herself, not rushing, and setting herself up for some success. Beautiful. Switch leap into the gainer dismount. You don't see that very often. You don't see the leap pass into the gainer. Does it beautifully. Great dismount. Sticks the landing.
What a way to open the season. Let's take a look at some final scores. This is a sprint of a meet. Southern Utah finished off with a 9.825 from Horton. And the Thunderbird score of 48.95 on vault. Will that be enough to keep them out of 4th place? We'll see. Now for the Utah State Aggies, who, as we mentioned earlier, have been a pleasant surprise. Amy Smith's got a good thing going in Logan, and it's only getting better. The Aggies, in their 4th rotation, on the floor, score of 49.1, led off by the highest score of the meet from Brie Clark at 9.925. And for the Utah Utes, unexpected issues with McCollum with the 9.325, but when you have Issa and O'Keefe to follow that up with 9.875s, all's well for the Utes. They can drop the 9.325, and Utah will finish 197 plus. Still doing the math there to get you a final tally. And BYU on the B, they're not going to hit the 49 mark, but Haley Pitu, McClellan, and Millar with the 9.875. All three of those competitors had to hit after watching a relatively early fall. And I believe that's going to be enough to have BYU finish in third place behind Utah and Utah State as you watch the Red Rocks receive their Best of Utah trophy.
Overall, I am so impressed with how all of these teams performed tonight. First meet of the season, we usually expect to see a few more mistakes, especially knowing how many lineup changes have happened with all four teams. I am just blown away about how well these gymnasts performed.
Your all-around winner tonight is Rebecca Wells from Utah State, our impact performer from the Aggies. Consistency is the word of the night.
You're watching BYU.
Rotation on the floor score of 49.1, led off by the highest score of the meet from Drew Clark at 99.
I think the meet's over. There's going to be another gymnastics meet later on, but I got to charge my phone.